how can you stay motivated to keep training for fall and summer trips that might get canceled? We've been having a lot of conversations about this in the group lately, so I thought I'd create a video to share some more thoughts about it. And my answer to should you continue to train is an unequivocal hell yes. I think there are so many benefits, so many good things about training, keeping going, keeping pushing through, even though it feels kind of pointless, like it might not happen. And I'm going to share some of those with you today. So for those of you who are maybe new to the group or don't know me, hi, my name is Sarah. I am a fitness coach and certified personal trainer who helps hikers develop epic endurance for mountaineering trips. And I know a lot of you are really kind of in that disappointment hangover stage right now. You've had trips canceled, you've had real letdowns, you're really uncertain about the future and wondering whether you should keep going. And I just want you to know I am totally there with you. If you've been following my story, you know that I made a shift this year from doing high altitude mountaineering to doing ultra running and setting goals in that area. I am planning to run ultra races for the first time, one in July and one in September. They are both still scheduled at this point, but I'm not 100% sure that that's gonna happen. So I'm getting up, I'm running every day, 6 days a week, sometimes for a few hours, not knowing if I'm actually gonna get to do the race. And that can be a little bit tough. But I think one of the things that makes this so tough is just the uncertainty about the future. And whenever we have uncertainty, our brain likes to come in, tell us all these things, these thoughts that are meant to keep us safe, but maybe aren't necessarily in our best interest. Our brain is wired for survival to help us stay out of danger, and the messages that it's feeding us, aren't always necessary in this modern time when we're not really in a lot of danger. So I thought I'd share a couple of thoughts your brain might be throwing at you and then offer you maybe some alternate thoughts that you can try on that might fit a little bit better as you're trying to train and trying to stay motivated. So number one is this all might be for nothing. Training for a trip that might all be for nothing, getting up every day, putting in the work, feeling the soreness, feeling the tiredness for months on end, knowing that it might not happen. It's hard, but do you know what? Like in our sport, this is kind of what we sign up for if you think about mountaineering. So for us, the main event is never guaranteed. We sign up for these trips, we pay a lot of money, we spend months training, all knowing that there's a fairly good chance we won't get to the summit. And why do we do that? It's so crazy if you think about it. And I think the reasons that I think there are lots of reasons we do it, but two that really come to mind for me right now are, number one, there's a certain beauty in it in that it really forces you to enjoy the journey. You really have to focus on making yourself a person who could climb the mountain and then leave the rest of it kind of up to the universe. And you have to enjoy that process. So whether that means you enjoy getting healthier, having better nutrition, getting lots of sleep, going on your training hikes and being with nature or being with friends, you really have to find your own meaning in that and find what makes it wonderful for you. And the journey has to be almost like better than the main event, because the journey sure as hell takes a lot longer. We train for 4 months and then there's just one summit day. And the other thing that I think makes it kind of special is if we're guaranteed to get to the top every time, it wouldn't be as exciting when we get there. If you've summited a big mountain and like closed that loop, think about how excited you were and just how amazing that felt. And really a lot of that feeling comes from the uncertainty, because it always all might be for nothing. So when your brain is telling you just talk back to your brain and be like, hey, that's always the case. There always could be an avalanche, bad weather, civil unrest in the area where you're going. The guides could go on strike. You could get diarrhea and not make it to the top. That is just like how mountaineering is. In coronavirus time, I think it's kind of in our face a little more that the summit is not guaranteed, but it's never guaranteed. And yet we go on, and that's kind of the beauty of it. So number 2 thought your brain might be throwing at you is you're setting yourself up for disappointment. If you dare to hope, if you dare to work hard, if you dare to keep going, you're just going to be devastated. You're telling yourself that you're just going to be devastated if in the event that it is canceled. And the honest to God truth is that might be true. And a thought that I'll kind of float for you is it's going to be devastating either way. You're going to be sad. You're going to be just let down if your trip is canceled. You're human, you have feelings, you're not a rock. But here's the other thing. I think a lot of times we tell ourselves that it's gonna be worse if we dare to believe, if we dare to work hard. But honestly, sometimes I think we end up feeling better in a strange way. And I think the reason for that is, we were all in, we bet on ourselves, we really did everything we could, and there's a certain peace in that, in knowing that we put in all the effort and things out of our control stopped it, but we controlled what we could control and did our very best. And I think that sometimes if we don't do that, if we give up on ourselves and fail ahead of time on purpose in order to avoid disappointment, then the disappointment ends up not being so much in the trip being canceled, but in ourselves. And that's actually, I think, a much worse way to feel. So if you're having that thought, really think about the benefits of being all in until the very end and controlling what you can control rather than giving up on yourself ahead of time. You might think it's going to make you feel better, but it might not. And number 3, this is the one that comes up for me a lot. I'm putting in a ton of time to training. You might be too. Is it a waste of time if it all gets canceled? And I think in our society, time is so precious to us, and we really make a lot of drama about time. Are we wasting it? Are we losing it? And that's especially magnified during this coronavirus time, either because we may be feeling much more busy than normal with kids at home, homeschooling, all the things, or for some of us, we have a lot more time and we wonder how we should be using that. And I certainly don't want to tell you how to use your time. It's really a decision that you need to make for yourself. And it's totally possible that training for a big mountaineering trip or a big adventure travel trip isn't what you need to be doing right now, and that's okay too. But a couple of thoughts to kind of float in your own brain and try on for size. First of all, learning a new skill is never wasted time. It's probably one of the best uses of your time. And all the time you're training, even if it may not seem like you're learning when you're doing this endurance training. You may think that you just have a training plan and you look at it every day and do the workout that's prescribed for you, but you don't realize how much you actually are learning throughout the couple months that you're doing that. You're learning so much about nutrition, about mindset, about what keeps you going, your motivation. You're learning how to sleep so that you can recover faster. And even with the fitness, you're learning what works for you, what doesn't, what adjustments you need to get the best results, because every human body is different. We can't write a training plan for every person. I can kind of write the bare bones, and then you take it and adapt it to what works for you. And that's a huge learning process that's just going on all the time. And the thing to keep in mind is that learning is forever. You might not necessarily get to use all that learning on the date that you thought you were. Your climb might get canceled, but it's always there for you. It's always accessible to you. Once you've learned it once, you have it forever, and you can do it again. And one thing I really want to drive home to you is, if you can make yourself a person that can climb the mountain once, you can do it again, and the second time it's going to be a hell of a lot easier. I speak from experience, and the third time is going to be even easier than that. So whenever you spend time training, spend time learning about yourself, it's never in vain. It is lifelong knowledge, stuff you can use for all the trips of your life. Hopefully there will be many in the future. And so this is kind of what I want to leave you with for this week. Definitely think about being a person. How can you work this week on becoming a person who could climb the mountain? And maybe you don't have a lot of fitness resources available to you right now. You're kind of working out at home, but all the other stuff is still available to you. Maybe this is the time to work on your nutrition, work on your sleep, work on cutting down on numbing behaviors like drinking alcohol, drinking caffeine, or drinking too much alcohol or caffeine. There's so much that you can work on right now in your living room, and you can take that stuff to the mountain. But even if you never get to go on the date that you thought you would get to go, all that stuff is still there for you, and it's still accessible for you. So yeah, thanks for checking it out. If you're listening to me and you're feeling like you're really needing some help getting your workout game together during this quarantine time, definitely click the link up above. I will send you 3 workouts. They're quarantine friendly workouts that are adapted to working out at home, doing short workouts outdoors if that's all you have available to you. So they incorporate a lot of at-home strength exercises. So definitely check that out if you think that's a resource that you might enjoy. And yeah, thanks so much. I will see you around the group. Stay safe, stay healthy, and hang in there. Take care.